In this video, we'll be looking at the brush and the pen tool within Photoshop. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to import an image from Photoshop and from the library. So you just hover over the brush tool, learn how, and then a default image from the library will come in. Now the brush tool is used for sort of spraying a texture over an image, and the pen tool is more used for drawing like a narrow sort of line on image. So we'll start with the brush tool. So there's a couple of things you want to make sure. Up top here, you've got the mode. You've got different types of modes up here. We're going to look at the normal today. And then what we'll look at is we're just going to draw a color. So you can change your color up here by selecting the foreground color. So I've got like a, let's change that to like a green so you can see it. And then as I spray it around, you can see it's a typical sort of spray can effect. If I right click on the image, I then have some different options here. So I can change the size. I can also change the hardness. Now by default, it'll be soft. I'll have like a feathering, which is very similar to your typical spray can, where if you want more of a harder sort of artificial sort of effect, you can change the hardness. You've also got different sort of options in there. The good thing about Photoshop is there's many different effects you can have in terms of the head. You've got special effects like a splatter here, like that. You can also change the angle also to the brush. Not so useful with the default one, but really good if you've got a special sort of brush like the leaf brush. So we'll change that back to the default brush. Change the size down. It's good. Then we can also change the opacity. So if I change out the 50%, what that does is you can see it only sprays over the 50% of the image pixel. Now, the way this works is it will never reach a saturation point of more than 50%. If you're looking for a more of a layered approach, I suggest that you look at the flow. So we'll just change this back up to 100%. Now, the flow rate works similar to a spray can. The more you spray on top of it, the more it layers. So we might just change the hardness down a bit so you can see it. If I change the flow rate down, you can see it reduces the thickness of the paint coming out of the brush. So if you're looking for more of a natural sort of look, reducing the flow is probably a good point. So if we just go back to where we were, and you've also got the smoothing option here where you can smooth the pixels. I tend to leave that as the default. There's also a new really good addition inside 2020 Photoshop. If you hit the tilde key, which is the button just below the escape on your keyboard, you can actually do an erase. You can see here I'm actually erasing through the image. So you want to make sure, I haven't done so, but you want to make sure that this is in layers. So I create a new layer on top of your image, and then that way you won't delete the image beneath it. That's pretty much the major stuff that you can use inside Brush Tool. You got the Pen Tool also. It's exactly the same, except obviously you got more of a thickness. You can right click. The difference between the Brush Tool and the Pen Tool really is, do you want more of a narrow sort of pixel perfect sort of line, or do you want more of a broad brush going over your image? My advice is that you jump into Photoshop, download an image, have a play around with both the brush and pen tool. They're very useful, especially if you want to design your own artwork from scratch or modify a photo. Otherwise, if you've got any more questions, you feel free to email me or look at my other videos. Thank you for watching.